Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Husband.
Wife?
Do you know what we're doing today?
No. I thought I did, but then we started the podcast and you did that.
I just wanted to do something a little different. Normally I'm so cheerful.
I'm not sure that was not... I don't know what that was.
You just stared at me like, are we keeping this? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah, I seriously considered hitting the stop button and just saying, nope. Okay, but you know what? I'm leaving it.
Just leave it. Because This is how we be.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're doing today is a Q&A recorded on Saturday. I don't know when it's going out. Maybe today, maybe Sunday, because it's part one.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do your thing, because that's job.
I'll probably put it out today.
Okay.
We'll see.
Then it is a Q&A Saturday. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Over chapters 11, 12, and 13 of Matthew.
Except that this isn't over all three of them.
Well, the whole Q&A is, but part one is just chapters 11 and 12.
Okay. That's what I was curious. Because I usually label it with what we go over.
Okay.
So I was just curious,
Yeah. This one is 11 and 12, and then... part two will be the Q&A over chapter 13.
That fucker had a lot to say.
He has so much to fucking say, and honestly, I wasn't sure where to split it up.
Obviously, that fucker being Jesus.
That fucker. I have so many notes on him, and I had to cut some stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we're doing a Q&A over Matthew chapters 11 and 12.
Correct.
Okay. You ready to do this?
Sure as fuck am.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right. We are hopping into Little Maddie, chapter 11 and 12 Q&A.
Okay.
And up till now, Jesus has been performing miracles and gathering Tucci gang. But... in chapter 11, Matthew starts wrestling with a really difficult question. The question is, what happens when people see the evidence and they still aren't convinced?
Matthew or Jesus is wrestling with it?
Oh, you know what? I was reading ahead and my eyes saw Matthew and said Matthew, but no, it's Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus is dealing with that.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's what Jesus is dealing with.
Okay.
Sorry. No, you're right.
I know, yeah.
Okay, so we start out with an odd exchange between not Matthew, god damn it.
Wow.
We're in Matthew.
Maybe I should have restarted this podcast.
Fuck off. No, it's an odd exchange between the disciples of John the Baptist, who's in jail,
Yeah.
and Jesus, who is before a crowd teaching.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
So... Christ has just finished his instructions and he's about to depart to preach in some different cities. Okay?
Yeah.
And then John sends two of his disciples to ask Jesus, are you really the one, the chosen one, the big one, that one?
Are you big cheese?
Which is funny because it's like...
Are you the goat?
Right. But which is funny because like they had a baptizing contest. So it's like, don't you know?
So that there's a lot of questions about that.
Yes.
I know
yes.
that much I know with regard, like, Jesus might have been a follower of John. Like, John gets this special treatment that is abnormal.
It is abnormal.
So
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of our first questions, like straight out the gate, okay, was why does John ask if Jesus is the Messiah?
Right.
What the fuck's up with that?
Yeah.
Right. So as we've said multiple times now, first century Judea was full of apocalyptic preachers, self-proclaimed prophets, healers, exorcists, would-be messiahs, revolutionary leaders. Like, there's all kinds of magic and politics floating around and popping off, and you can't throw a rock without hitting one of these fools.
Everybody's got a cause and a belief.
Yeah. I mean, they're just every which way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a powder keg. That's what I'm trying to say. A counter peg. It's about to go off. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, the counter peg's about to...
The counter peg. Yeah. I need that on a shirt.
Yeah.
So ancient historians describe several figures who gathered followers and claimed divine authority. And many Jews expected a prophet that would be like Moses, or a king like David, or a military liberator, a priestly reformer, or some combination thereof, like some kind of mover. You know what I mean? Like a political leader or a religious leader, right?
Right.
Like not just some guy sitting at the lunch table with a tax collector.
Right. And then if you're going off of historical accounts of who the biggest people in the Bible were, it was going to be your, kings and there were, like there was and prophets,
Right. So merely performing miracles did not automatically mean that somebody was the Messiah, because like everybody's doing that.
Which just blows my fucking, like, okay,
right.
That aspect, because that's one of those things where, like, well, Jesus performed miracles, but, like, when you're reading this, like, dude, like, everybody in every corner was performing miracles, apparently. Like, he just didn't charge. He was the free one. Yeah. That's all.
He was doing it for free, and he was fucking around on the Sabbath.
Look, and I don't believe miracles were actually happening, but people believe miracles were happening.
Whatever he was doing, other people were doing it too. Whatever that was, whatever grift he was pulling, but he was doing it for free, and he was doing it on the Sabbath.
Right.
And he was also making explosive statements, extremely intentionally inflammatory statements.
It actually feels like a lot of what he does, even though he claims that he wants to uphold Mosaic law, is kind of counter-Jewish.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like he's like, we're going to do everything not Jewish.
Yeah. We're going to get into that.
Which is weird, because if you're going to hold up Mosaic law, then you should be following the law, which makes me think that maybe he doesn't fully understand what he's teaching. Yeah. And also, like, what?
Yeah.
What? I know I'm saying that about Jesus, which sounds counterintuitive, but I don't believe his claim to be the Son of God. So.
About the guy that Matthew's talking about in the New Testament,
who essentially is a cult leader of a group of people in ancient times.
Exactly. So one common interpretation of why John is like, I'm not sure if you are the one after all.
Right.
Okay. John expected judgment, and there wasn't a lot. Earlier, John had preached, the axe is already at the root of the tree. Remember that?
Yeah.
And the Messiah will separate wheat from chaff. And instead of fire, Jesus is out there. He's healing people, eating with sinners. He's teaching. He's showing mercy.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like walking around barefoot. He's not doing anything like full of fire and causing, separating.
Right.
You got to keep them separated. And John is like, you're not doing it. I'm not sure you're the one. You're not.
Oh, so it was questioning him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, I literally am not sure you're the one. That's why I'm asking.
Got it.
Yes, I hear that you're doing miracles. I haven't seen them, but everybody's doing miracles.
Yeah.
So
what
what's
makes you
up?
special? Yeah.
You're not doing what I'm expecting you to do. You're doing things that everybody else is doing. Right. Are you literally the one? I'm not sure.
But the fact that they bring up John the Baptist so often makes me think that he held some sort of like coveted position to these people.
Yeah.
Like he was very important to them.
Yeah. Well, he was another one of the leaders walking around.
Right. One that they obviously respected.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Right.
Another thing is that the Romans were still in power at that time and corruption still existed. So John is actually saying, are you absolutely for certain the Messiah? Because things aren't unfolding the way I expected. And I just want to make sure you're not like on the side of Romans. Like, are you being corrupt? You're not doing what I expected.
Right. So something I discovered in that, I talked about it in the last episode, but the podcast I listened to recently about the whole history of Jesus or whatever, it discussed that, you know how they don't like the Pharisees, right? Well, the Pharisees were kind of almost as rebellious as the Jesus group.
Yeah.
Like they were the Sadducees were the ones that were the normal, temple Jewish people, and the Pharisees ended up becoming the rabbinic Jews, which is very different sect of Judaism.
Right.
So they themselves were their own bit of radicalness at that time as well, just separate from the Jesus group.
Exactly.
So there was all this like infighting between different breakaway groups and the mainstream group and the Romans, and it's like, wow.
That's what the Gospels actually are, is infighting to determine which sect of Judaism will prevail.
Right.
I actually have that statement later in my notes.
Sure.
That's truly what this is.
Yeah.
It's a family fight.
Right.
And they're not looking at people like me and you. They're looking at each other and saying, no, I'm the best Jew. No, you're the best Jew. No, I am. He is. They are. What?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we move on, and Jesus gives an answer to John the Baptist's disciples. He says, tell John that prophecy regarding the Messiah is being fulfilled. But he doesn't specifically say, yes, I'm the one. He says, look at what is happening and judge me by the evidence.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we move on, and I'm going to read verse 10. This is the one about whom it is written, I will send my messenger ahead of you who will prepare your way before you. So obviously I have to look up, where's that from? What do you mean about whom it is written?
Right. Yeah.
So this comes from Malachi chapter 3. And if I'm not mistaken, Malachi is the last book of the Old Testament.
I actually can't recall off the top of my head, but
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I'll believe that could be true.
So verse 1 says, I will send my messenger who will prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the Lord you are seeking will come to his temple. The messenger of the covenant whom you desire will come, says the Lord Almighty.
So vague.
Is he gonna come?
Right.
He gonna come.
Okay.
And then 150 years later, finally, he does. Sure. I guess, maybe, sort of.
More than that, because that would have been at least 300 years or 400.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
So that's where that's from.
And again, I do want to point this out one more time. And just kind of throughout this, but when we were reading the Old Testament, there was never a time where we didn't attribute to what they're talking about to something in near term or previous or like recent history.
Yeah,
like
when they made prophecies, they were talking about the near future, as in like the coming days, not the coming years.
Right, and I think that we'll find, based on what I know and what I've heard already, that Jesus does the same thing. Jesus is doing near-term prophecies.
Of course,
these are stuff that's coming right now, like soon.
It's about to happen. Yeah,
it's very
yeah. The idea that 2,000 years later we're still waiting.
Yeah,
that's fucking redonkulous.
Yeah, no, that's
not what they were saying.
That's not what was intended.
They were not like, hold on for 2,000 years.
Right.
I'll be back. That's not anything that they were talking about.
Right.
So I want to read verse 12 because there was a translation question.
Okay.
Verse 12 says, from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been subjected to violence, and violent people have been raiding it. one of the notes that I came across said that it might not have been that they were subjected to violence. It was that they've been forcefully advancing. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Kind of same thing-ish. But our question was, what do you mean? How are violent people raiding the kingdom of heaven?
Right.
If heaven is the afterlife and heaven is like this mystical, magical, cloudy sky place, like Sky Daddy, lives in heaven, right? And so our question was basically, what the fuck does the kingdom of heaven mean, right? So apparently this is one of the most debated verses in Matthew.
Okay.
And I'm like, goddamn right it is, because what the fuck? So there's a couple different interpretations here, okay?
Yeah.
The first interpretation is that the kingdom is under attack. John was imprisoned, the prophets are being persecuted, and Jesus is being opposed. So the kingdom's movement is encountering violent resistance. That's a very forgiving interpretation. I can see Christians picking that one. Sure. Ooh, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Another one is that people are forcefully pressing into it. Some translations suggest that energetic people are seizing the kingdom. And in this reading, people are desperately trying to enter God's kingdom, and the violence is the metaphorical intensity that's going on at the time. Which is to me, that reads very similarly to the first one.
Right.
Either way, y'all are talking about some kind of mystical, magical la la land.
Sure.
Okay? And I'm not here for it. So our next question was, hold on. I need to know what the fuck you actually mean, though, by heaven. Is this the afterlife? Right?
Right.
Probably not.
The way it's phrased in multiple points throughout Matthew so far that we've read, it does not sound like it. It sounds very earthly.
Yes. It's almost definitely not a mystical, magical afterlife place.
Right, but I don't feel like that's the way it's interpreted nowadays.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Matthew usually uses kingdom of heaven to mean God's reign breaking into the present world.
Sure.
So the way we live in community with one another, and as a community, go about our daily business of being right to each other and worshiping and praising God.
Sure.
That is the kingdom of heaven.
Okay.
So, yes, heaven on earth is what you and I said. And yes, that is what that is. When he says the kingdom of heaven, he's talking about God in our neighborhood.
Right.
You know, not God so much as a godly way of being.
Sure.
You know, he's not talking about the place people go when they die, obviously.
Okay.
Many scholars' understanding is that Jesus is talking about God's kingdom movement on earth. Okay. His movement. And that gets back into what it means by people pressing into the movement or fighting back against the movement.
Right.
It can be opposed, persecuted, disrupted, and resisted, and raided even, you know? And afterlife heaven obviously could not literally be raided because that's mystical, magical la la land.
Yeah, God's the most powerful apparently, and like, how could that have fucking happen?
Exactly.
So that can't be.
A social and spiritual movement can absolutely be raided.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had it right on that. And that makes me happy because we were like, what?
Well, because
that don't make no sense.
I've heard Christians today talk about kingdom of heaven, and they definitely are referring to heaven.
They're talking about their Sky Daddy with the clouds.
Right. They're not talking
and
about
the pearly gates,
the here and now.
The pretty cartoon.
Right. And the scarier bit is that generally when people are referring to the kingdom of heaven, it feels a little revelation-y. And like, you know, they think the world's going to end, and it has some very apocalyptical themes behind that intonation that they put behind that.
They're both excited about where they're going and gleeful about who's not and what's going to happen to them.
Right, which I can see based on what we're reading. So like if you're interpreting this as heaven and you're reading these words into it, it sounds somewhat apocryphal the way it's read, that people are invading the kingdom of heaven. You know, these things there's weeds growing in the kingdom of heaven. Like these things are are bad and happening, and something needs to change, so it's going to happen soon, and the revelation thing, and we're all going to be, whatever. Somebody's going to need
imminent
to watch the pets because we're all floating away.
Yeah.
Well, we're not floating away.
It's happening any second.
Somebody's floating away.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see why they get frantic, but they just need to read better.
Yeah, I think that's one of the thing. One of the things that really gets me about the Bible is how much room for interpretation there is, and how much I have come to realize that people put their own spin on it in such a way that it may not even make any fucking sense. Right,
and that's for me. I'm like, make it make sense.
Right.
It needs to make sense. It's got to jive with math.
Yeah.
So. Our next question was, why does Jesus then, as John's disciples are walking away, he spends so much time praising John?
He really does.
That was weird, right?
That was weird. Yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. John is sitting in prison. So from the crowd's perspective, John's apparent failure could cast doubt on his legitimacy, which would therefore raised out on Jesus's legitimacy.
Okay.
Because John had baptized Jesus early on. And if John ain't right, then Jesus ain't right.
Okay.
And so Jesus is like, no, John's the dude.
He's saving face.
Yeah, he's saving his bro because it behooves him to do so.
Okay.
Jesus publicly validates John, saying that John's imprisonment doesn't mean he was wrong. John fulfilled his role.
Got it.
By clearing the way.
Right.
For Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus is like, John is so awesome. I'm so glad he was here. Thank you, John. Everybody clap for John. Okay, anyways.
And with regard to the Jesus story, they're doing this, I'm guessing, in order to just make the story all jive.
Yes.
So,
yes.
because essentially so far from what I've heard, Matthew is all about making the story just work.
He's trying to tape it all together.
It doesn't work very well, but they're trying. They're really trying to make it work.
Yes. So, okay, then moving on, we were like, excuse you, why is John referred to as Elijah?
Yeah.
That was really fucking weird.
Right.
A lot of the references that Jesus pulls out feel random.
They really do.
And he pulls them out, and he basically tries to do deep cuts to show you how well read he is.
Yeah.
And we'll be finding that throughout Matthew. Apparently that's a thing that Matthew does, is deep cuts.
Okay.
So, as far as Elijah goes, this goes back to the Old Testament, obviously. The prophet Elijah never died in the usual way. He was taken up to heaven.
In a whirlwind.
That's right.
On a chariot, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because of this, many Jews expected Elijah to return before God's final intervention. That prophecy comes from the book of Malachi.
Yeah.
Which says, I will send Elijah before the great day of the Lord.
Got it.
So he's like, John is Elijah.
So when Matthew's comparing John to Elijah, they're trying to say that Elijah already came, essentially, and that Jesus is following Elijah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hit very well. It doesn't land right.
Right.
But that's kind of the implication there, right?
Yes. Jesus is saying that John is the fulfillment of that expectation.
Okay.
John is the incarnation of Elijah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not literally Elijah, just like the idea. John came in the spirit and role of Elijah.
Sure.
They're like, just pretend.
Right.
And you feel like that was Elijah, right? You felt that, right? And then everybody just like, I guess. Okay. Matthew wants readers to see John as Elijah's successor.
Okay. All right.
And then there were some interesting comparisons. I don't feel that they're a big deal, but I'm going to point them out just for you to know them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So both Elijah and John the Baptist were wilderness prophets.
Right.
Okay. They both confronted corrupt rulers.
Okay.
They both wore rough clothing, but most prophets did. So
didn't Elijah go down and hide some underwear at the riverbanks or something?
I don't remember if that was
him?
Elijah or Elisha.
Okay. One of them did, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, all the prophets wore rough clothing.
Sure.
Like, that was part of the gig.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do... You can't convince normal people that you're saying something that matter if you are dressed to the nines, because...
Or if you're dressed in comfy sweats.
Sure.
Your whole thing is... I am dressed in rough clothing because A, I'm dressed down, and B, I'm
doing the work.
Almost to discomfort because I need that constant physical reminder of why I'm here and what I'm doing.
Sure.
So both of them also were called, they called Israel to repentance.
Okay.
Repent.
I mean,
and
that's also
did.
not unique.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the comparisons.
Right.
But again, I thought I'd just put them out there because they were given.
Sure.
So, whatever. I don't know what else to say about John the Baptist. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
That whole thing was weird. I still feel weird. I understand it a little better, but whatever. Our next question was about wisdom being treated like a person.
Yeah.
And you thought it came from Genesis. It did not.
Really?
Yeah, which I knew.
Well, I was wrong.
It came from Proverbs, which I said Psalms. So I was closer than you.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
It came this thing of wisdom though being an individual, a personification.
Yeah.
It comes from a long tradition in Jewish literature, and chapter 8 of Proverbs is where wisdom is personified. She speaks, calls to people. She existed before creation, and wisdom assists God in creating the world. And that's probably why you thought about Genesis.
Yeah.
So I think that we both were kind of right.
Okay.
I'll give both of us half points.
Because you were only one chapter, or you were only one book away.
Because I get Proverbs and Psalms confused. I can't tell them apart. And because they were speaking about the Genesis story.
I got it.
So yeah, I think we both get a half point on that.
All right.
So wisdom becomes like a character, and she's not necessarily a separate divine being. She's just a simple abstract construct, but it's really weird nonetheless.
It is.
And I'm like, y'all so Greek. Cut it out.
Well, and there's a lot of yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Greek enters into Christianity quite a bit, actually.
Mm-hmm. Don't it though?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was like the first half of that chapter. So then we moved on to the condemned and the accepted. Okay. And he starts going off on these towns. He's like, fuck this town, fuck this town.
Right.
And we were like, ugh, why are you comparing them to Sodom? They ain't that bad.
Right. So
Jesus condemns Chorazin, Bethsaida, and Capernaum, towns which actually weren't notoriously evil. They really weren't. We were not told of murder, oppression, debauchery, or anything like that.
Right.
They weren't that bad.
Towns.
They're just some fucking towns that weren't impressed with Jesus.
I guess.
So Jesus's argument was that these towns saw extraordinary signs and yet remain unmoved.
I call bullshit.
I mean, I do too, but I'm just telling you why Jesus is like, fuck those towns so hard.
I got it.
In his mind, he's saying the greater the opportunity, the greater the accountability. You saw it, therefore you're responsible for it. You know better, and you chose anyway, so fuck you to hell forever.
Here's what I know to be 100% true. 100% true. Nobody during Jesus' lifetime wrote down anything about him performing miracles.
Or any miracles.
Or anything.
Nobody was performing... Everybody was performing miracles, except that nobody performed miracles.
Right. Literally nobody wrote about this fucker until after he died.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying he wasn't important.
Right.
He obviously was a leader of a group of people, but they had the hindsight to rewrite whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm sure he wasn't as miraculous as he claims, and as is claimed in these books.
Exactly.
It's dumb.
It is dumb. This whole idea that knowledge increases responsibility is a common Jewish idea. So it just sits there.
It's also a common Spider-Man. With great knowledge comes great responsibility.
No, with great power.
With great power. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was wrong about that.
You did it.
It was
you
close.
did
It was
Spider-Man
close.
so wrong.
I did the Jewish Spider-Man.
Jewish Spider-Man. Oh my God. So we were like, why does skepticism deserve greater condemnation than extreme wickedness? That seems so stupid, right?
Yeah.
We were like, that does not track. Is disbelief alone enough to make them actually worse than Sodom, where they were actually going about like really terrible acts of heinous crimes?
Just my personal opinion, fuck no.
Right. Matthew's worldview assumes that rejecting God's direct intervention is itself a profound moral failure. So God is saying, yeah. And I'm like, fuck God. God's a dick.
Right. Because these people, like the way that they were described, the Sodomites, when they described what was going on at that house, they were pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah. It was rotten.
And look, I don't normally agree. And I don't think that God should have killed an entire city. We had disagreements about that, but like those people, that was a terrible scene. It was pretty emotional, as described. It was very dramatic and emotional, and I didn't care for that. Right, and I'm sorry, but not believing in God doesn't even begin to compare to what was described in that scene about the Sodomites. Yeah, not even a little bit. No, I totally agree. Something that should be noted, just so that we are aware, is that prophets often used Sodom symbolically. So in the Old Testament, Sodom becomes shorthand for arrogance, injustice, complacency, failure to care for the vulnerable. So they're not even using it. It was a superlative. In the beginning, it was like, worst town ever, where all the baddest, bad things happen. And now it's come to just be used for any bad. Okay. You told a lie. Oh, sodomite. I saw you picking your nose, you fucking sodomite. Like, that's basically, it got watered down. Yeah. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay. That they're not making the comparison the way we feel like they are. We just read it, so it's fresh in our minds. Like, we're like, no, but Sodom was bad, but they're using the term differently. Okay, but if Jesus really was a scholar of the Bible, right, and like knew things about the Bible, hell, if he is God's son, he should know what actually happened in Sodom. Okay, so we're having two different discussions here. Sure. Because I'm just saying why it was written that way by a man. No, I know. Is because of the way the language was used. I get it. And that actually leans more toward this is all bullshit anyways. I kind of go back and forth between taking the why didn't Jesus know this versus this was written after Jesus' death, because both points of view matter insofar as trying to point out the fallacies and the bullshit that's in this book. No, it's really hard because it's actually three different perspectives, right? Because it's, first of all, it's, let's pretend Jesus is the Son of God, like Christians say, and read it from that perspective, right? Like, okay, whatever. But then it's like, wait, this was written after he died, so this would be Matthew quoting Jesus. But not even Matthew. But, not even Matthew. Then it's like, okay, now let's read it as fucking actual people with brains who understand that this is all a grift and a cult that got way out of control. It might not even be a grift. They might believe what they're saying, but it's definitely been handed down by word of mouth. Definitely been bastardized. It's been fucking changed for sure. Right. So then there's that perspective is what I'm like. Right. I'm sorry, historical academic, right? So there's three different ways to read it, and that makes it really hard whenever we're having a discussion, whenever I'm bringing information to the table. Like, I'm trying to tell you basically this is what dude meant. Yeah. This is what Matthew and his team, this is the way they used the language at the time. by quoting Jesus directly according to the book.
I guess.
Which then we have to be like, so Jesus said, but not really, because it wasn't really, but also they said that he did. So
well, the fact that they were using Sodom as a weak, watered down adjective leans more toward definitely written by man, not divine intervention.
Sure, because somebody who actually knew what happened would not have used it that way, in my opinion.
No, totally. God, an all-knowing God, would know better.
Right.
But we could have said that multiple times over.
Sure.
So if these Galilean towns were comfortable, prosperous, and indifferent, I'm having a hard time, sorry. Matthew was invoking that broader prophetic tradition rather than only the Genesis destruction story. Is basically what it comes to.
Got it.
Okay. So he was trying to ooh, burn.
Literally.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'm going to read... No, I'm not.
You're not going to... Okay.
No, I am.
She's not reading.
I am going to read, but I'm trying to find where my next note is.
Okay.
Sorry. All right, so then we get... yeah, that's basically like the end of the chapter.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to read my notes at the same time that I'm talking.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the end of chapter 10. So chapter 10 was following me may divide families and get you killed. That was last chapter. But this chapter 11, he says the opposite, that his burden is light. And we were last chapter you were talking about bringing the fucking sword.
Right.
And that was going to be tough. And then this season you're like... No. It's so everything good, everything gravy. It's good to follow me.
Sure.
And so we were like, how does that track?
Right.
You go from one chapter to the next saying you're going to die. And then you're like, just kidding. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right. The focus here is external cost versus internal burden. So Jesus is saying basically following me may make your life harder in some ways because the world may oppose you, but the path is not meant to crush your soul. But let me tell you what it's giving me, okay?
Okay.
It's giving me that meme with the dog sitting at the table drinking his coffee saying this is fine while everything's on fire around him.
Yeah.
That's going from chapter 10 to chapter 11.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Also, one more note about this chapter before I throw this packet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
One of the chapter's biggest ironies is that John and Jesus are opposites. And we didn't catch this. I thought this was cool. So John was the wilderness guy, and Jesus was teaching in the villages and towns.
Okay.
John was into fasting. Remember? He was super fasting.
Yeah.
Whereas Jesus,
he and
his team are feasting.
We ain't fasting.
Yeah. They're feasting.
Right.
John was wearing camel hair. He was living it rough. Jesus was wearing regular clothing and walking around town with everybody.
See, yeah.
John was using harsh judgment, and that's why he was questioning Jesus.
Right.
Whereas Jesus was about mercy.
Okay.
So, very interesting that they were complete opposites. But it's also pointed out that even though they were exact opposites, they both received rejection. So the point that Christians will make is that the problem isn't the messenger's style, the problem is the audience.
Couldn't that difference also kind of symbolize the difference between Old Testament Judaism and New Testament Christianity also?
Yeah.
This is the distinction from one to the next, right?
Yeah.
This is what it was and this is where we're going.
It could be that you guys both suck. You guys are both you're both opposites of each other, but we don't suck. Y'all both suck because y'all are both giving wild reinterpretations of something that we've been living with. And I don't like either of you.
But I mean, everybody was doing that at the time. But I feel like the rejection is more about how Jews in general rejected God from the earliest times to now. And so the rejection is the same on either side, but it's just showing the transition of this is what we were and this is what we're going to. And you know what? And Jesus is like, you know what? Fuck the Jewish people. we're going to go on and do our own thing over here. And if you won't come along and fully believe, then I guess you
fuck you forever in hell.
Yeah.
Die and all.
Basically.
Yeah. Because that's nice.
Is it, though?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. All right. So then we move on to chapter 12. Okay. And this chapter is about the religious leaders continuing to reject Jesus. Okay?
Sad for him.
It's very sad. He's sad Jesus.
He's very sad Jesus.
This chapter basically asks who has the authority to interpret God's law. And I'm like, God. He literally wrote it down. It's fucking simple. You're trying to reinterpret it. And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Although, we don't know where that tablet went.
No. But I'm just saying, like, he's trying to act like, what? Y'all are not using common sense. And they're like, yeah, but we got smited before when we didn't use common sense. Like, no, we're following no, I'm sorry. I already went off on Jesus about this and him acting like, why y'all so stupid?
Right.
And it's like, because the laws are stupid, but
we have to follow them.
But we have to follow them.
And even in like one of the first chapters where you started speaking, you said that we still have to follow them.
Exactly.
So,
and then you're like, just
you
kidding.
Change your mind.
Except when I don't want to.
Right. Yeah. That's this whole thing's weird.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we get some Sabbath controversies.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah. Okay. The Pharisees condemn the disciples of Jesus for harvesting grain on the Sabbath.
Right.
And so we've got two laws invoked here. Okay.
Okay.
The first law is about thievery. Can they take the grain? Yes. Yes, they can. According to the Torah, poor travelers were allowed to pick grain by hand from someone else's field. You and I commented on that at the time that, yeah, that's fine. That's great. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But then we were like, oh, but on the Sabbath, though? I don't think so.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Even me and you know the fucking law. You're not supposed to work on the fucking Sabbath.
No.
We know that one. That's a big fucking deal.
I'll kill you for that shit, apparently.
Yeah. The Torah forbids work on the Sabbath, but it never provides a complete list of what counts as work. So by Jesus's time, religious scholars had developed extensive traditions defining prohibited activities. So they had collectively agreed what work entailed. Okay?
Okay, but I'm just going to throw this out there because one of the one that always stands out to me was the dude that picked up sticks on
the wrong
Sabbath,
fucking day. Yeah.
Right? If you can't pick up sticks, I'm sorry, but you can't pick wheat.
Right. Yeah.
No,
I totally agree.
They're same.
I don't think God was unclear here. I think y'all just like loopholes.
Right, yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that the law makes sense. I think it's a stupid law.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not here to say that law is good or bad.
But if you're going to have a fucking law, have a law.
And don't tell me that you get to reinterpret it now several thousand years later, what the fuck ever.
Right.
That doesn't make fucking sense, Jesus.
Yeah.
So the Pharisees had apparently regarded plucking and preparing grain as forms of harvesting. So they were like, no, that's work.
Right.
You ain't supposed to be doing that.
With regard to the Old Testament,
sorry,
seems to make sense.
So. Yeah. Now, whether they were assholes about it or whether they were assholes at all, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Sure.
But the story that I'm getting, the Pharisees were in the right. Okay?
According to Old Testament law.
Yeah.
Right.
So that gets into the fact that the Pharisees are often portrayed unfairly. If we're looking back, and we're like, why? They actually had the right of it in this case.
Yeah.
Matthew paints them as utter villains, like evil mustaches, and then they plotted to kill him.
Well, and I've heard it said that a lot of the hatred of Jewish people in general comes from the New Testament. Like the way that they are portrayed in here lends to a lot of the disparaging ways that people view
could see that.
Jewish people.
I could totally see that.
So,
because Matthew is like, they're so mean, they hate Jesus, and fuck those Pharisees.
Right, but could you imagine basing your hatred of a group of people off of a 2,000-year-old book that you've never really read or understood?
Right.
Like,
that's so,
holy shit.
That's so ignorant. So even though Matthew paints them as villains, historians tend to have a little bit more of a nuanced view of the Pharisees as a people.
Yeah.
Okay. Many modern readers imagine them as hypocritical religious elites.
Okay.
So
I don't think that's what they were, based on what, like, they were a different group that was also rebelling against the main group of the Sadducees, and the Jewish mainstream, and the Romans. They were also rebelling against the Romans. It just was different from what Jesus was doing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. The Pharisees were often closer to ordinary people than the priestly aristocracy, is what's ironic. So they were more your common dude.
Right.
So I think they would have a better understanding of what the laws on the Sabbath were.
Sure.
Because they're your blue collar guys.
Well, and it sounds to me like they're just like, I'm going to not pick a fight with God. So let's
you
not
do you, but this is bullshit.
Right? Like, God said we shouldn't work. I'm not going to fucking work. You're working. I'm not. Dude, God has fucked us over so many times. I'm not going down this road with you, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't blame the Pharisees here at all.
Yeah.
The Pharisees, oh, sorry, I lost my place. So all of this doesn't mean necessarily that Matthew's criticisms are invalid.
Okay.
I guess.
Sure.
But it does serve as a reminder that we're only hearing one side of a family argument.
Yeah.
And I'm totally.
Right. And yeah. No, I don't like the way that this is framed.
I don't either.
It's not a good argument. And moreover, there's not enough reasoning behind why they're changing it up to make it make sense to me.
I would like a spokesman for the Pharisees, please.
Right.
All right. So then we move on to verses 6, 7, and 8 that I'm going to read.
Sure.
I tell you that something greater than the temple is here. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. Okay. That comes from Hosea chapter 6. Okay. Verses 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to read them. What can I do with you, Ephraim? What can I do with you, Judah? Your love is like the morning mist, like the early dew that disappears. Therefore, I cut you in pieces with my prophets. I killed you with the words of my mouth. Then my judgments go forth like the sun. For I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and acknowledgement of God rather than burnt offerings. Like Adam, they have broken the covenant. They were unfaithful to me there.
Yeah, this was where we discussed talking about that. We talked about this and we're like, oh, well, they don't really need. This is kind of leaning towards the New Testament idea where they don't need sacrifices because they want you to feel the right thing in your heart as opposed to
authenticity
the
rather than going through the motions.
But then they also kind of backtrack that later.
Yeah.
To where they still want you to do sacrifices, but they want you to have the meaning behind it while also doing the sacrifice. And there was a whole bit about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just okay. Sorry, I was just trying to place it in my brain and remember, but I do remember talking about that. And this was, I think Hosea was actually the last book of the Bible. But,
I don't think so.
Okay, whatever. One of those was that, and it was near the end at the very least. Mm-hmm. And we were making comments about how this was moving towards New Testament land.
Yeah.
And sure, and now they use it in New Testament.
Yep.
Yay.
And there it is. So David and his men. The question that we had was why is Jesus in this story using David as a comparison? Like David ate it, right? And here's the thing. David and his men were hungry and they ate consecrated bread that technically should only have been eaten by priests, but David was fleeing for his fucking life when he did that. Sure. He was in danger. He was on the run. It was an emergency. Yeah. The disciples, they're just hungry.
Yeah. And trying to make a point of some type, which
they were intentionally antagonizing.
Yeah.
And most scholars agree these situations are not the same. They're not identical. And Jesus is like pulling a fast one here.
Right.
They're like, no.
No, Jesus is trying to, on purpose, be contrarian to a lot of the ideals that
he wants to reinterpret the laws.
Right.
He wants to reinterpret the laws while at the same time saying, follow them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not confusing at all, right?
Right? Yeah.
FYI, you were absolutely correct that Malachi is the last book of the Bible. I was wrong. Hosea is not the last book of the Bible. Sorry.
I knew it. You're welcome. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Jesus is like trying to make a broader argument is what we're supposed to take out of this.
Okay.
That human need can outweigh ritual restrictions. But I'm like...
Can it, though?
No.
Look, okay.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
If I'm at a stop sign, right?
Yeah.
And not a stop sign, a stoplight. Mm-hmm. No traffic is coming. And I cross through anyway. I go across traffic or, traffic lane.
Sure.
Through the red light.
Yeah.
The fact that, but I wanted to real bad, and I feel like I have a good reason, I'm still going to get a fucking ticket because I still broke the law.
If a cop sees you, yeah, for sure.
But even if the cop doesn't see me, I still broke the fucking law.
Right. I was just saying you wouldn't get a ticket.
No, right. And here's another example. Let's say I'm going through a red light and I have somebody in my back seat bleeding out.
Right.
And that's why I go through the red light so that I can get to the hospital. Right? That would be a good exception to the law.
Sure.
But not just because I wanna.
Right. It doesn't mean you won't get a ticket. It means the cop might wait for you to get done getting the person checked in before they give you the ticket.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's still illegal to do what you do.
Yeah, I still broke the law.
They might, let you off, but they might not. Like you
One
might
would hope they don't be a dick. One would hope that they actually like put their siren on and
for sure.
Escort me.
But I've seen many instances in the Old Testament where a law was broken for a good reason and it was not forgiven.
God was like, I hear you, but it's a law though.
Right.
And even though I'm the one that made it, the law's the law, bruh. My hands are tied.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but why the change? You haven't died for anybody's sins yet. Not yet.
Right.
So
who are you?
Why are we changing up? We just decided we wanted to change up because God killed people for doing less than what you're saying in the Old Testament. So why
are you mad at people for not hopping on board with you when in the past entire civilizations have been like fucking wiped out over this shit?
Right.
Like, I'm not understanding how we're supposed to.
No, it's bullshit. This is bullshit because we have from the time we got done with the Pentateuch on, we have noticed a lessening of the harshness a little bit here and there, and now it's going full circle, right? Like where they're just making up new fucking rules that they want to follow instead of following the old rules, and it's like, okay, look, yeah, this new age bullshit that you're talking about sounds great and all, but like, why? You're not giving us a good reason here. You're not making this make sense because God literally killed our ancestors for the same shit.
Yeah.
So why should I believe that you are correct and he is not? You're saying to go against God, to go with you in order to move forward in my belief, I have to be counter to what God was and go forward with you, which, okay.
You're saying that...
That's a big claim, though.
You're saying that Yahweh is no longer boss, but that Jesus walking amongst us is boss.
Right.
And that you are the son of Yahweh, and that I got to listen to you instead of Yahweh.
But he doesn't actually make the claim that he is the son of God. He actually, in Jesus' speaking thus far, he has not made that claim. There are people that have, it has been implied by other people, and it has been implied here and there, but it's not, the claim has not been made officially yet, and especially not through his own words.
All right. I'll give you that, but that makes his hold even more tenuous.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
Yeah.
If you're not claiming yourself that you are the son of God and you have the right to change these laws, why should anybody fucking believe you?
Yeah.
Why should anybody listen to you? I sure as fuck wouldn't listen to you if it meant that I'm going to lose something to follow you, and what I'm doing by doing this is essentially going against the God of all time,
right,
to this point, as far as we know,
right.
I mean, with regard to the Jewish belief,
Sure.
So it doesn't track as a good. It just doesn't track. That's all.
I don't buy it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So Matthew is saying, Jesus is saying that David broke. Okay, let me try that one more time. Jesus is supposedly not saying that David broke the law, therefore everyone can.
Okay.
But that's the way I kind of read it.
Right.
What he's supposedly saying is that Scripture itself contains examples where preserving life and serving God's purposes took priority over ritual regulations, which, yeah, I give you that.
Okay.
Sometimes it did.
But
And
what you're doing
sometimes,
is not that.
right. And sometimes God was like, I hear you, but I don't give a fuck. You're still punished because you still broke it.
Right.
And other times, you just got away with it.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. But what Jesus and his guys are doing, this is not a preserving life.
No, it's almost like they're flaunting their...
They were.
I mean,
It's part of their political uprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus must realize that that's not a good example. So he immediately gives another one that priests work on the Sabbath in the temple, but they're considered innocent. What's up with that, yo? And the point is that not every apparent Sabbath violation is actually a violation. But no, I'm not buying it. His examples are fucking bad.
Yeah.
No, bro, you wanted to break the rules, to intentionally break the rules, to differentiate yourself from the other prophets.
Well, and okay, I'm just going to throw this out there, but the priests in the temple, right? Mm-hmm. They are ordained as as priests of God, right? Mm-hmm. And they have to wear special get-ups and everything to do this. And they're the ones that collect and do the sacrifices. They're the ones doing all the work for God.
Yeah.
On the Sabbath, this is God's day of work as opposed to the people's day of work, right?
Yes.
And by extension, the priest's day of work, right? So I mean, it's understandable that they would work, and that's like you said, it's not a good example that Jesus would have used. That doesn't clear you.
God's a dick, and his son is a dick as well.
Don't make me defend the Old Testament God.
Yeah,
this is not okay.
Jesus is making me stand up for Yahweh, and it's making me very uncomfortable. I don't like it.
No, he's throwing out claims that are
that's not what Yahweh said.
and he's just wrong. He's just fucking wrong.
So Jesus then says something greater than the temple is here. The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath.
Okay.
So that's a fucking huge, gigantic, enormous claim.
Yeah.
Because the temple was the center of Jewish religious life, as we know.
Yeah.
Jesus is claiming authority greater than the temple itself.
Sure.
So his logic is basically if Scripture already shows exceptions and priorities within God's law, then the one who stands above the temple has authority to interpret the Sabbath correctly, which is me, and I can. So I did. So I do. Boom.
But also, he's still not claiming that it's because he's the Son of God.
But he's hinting at it. He's hinting at it. He's saying the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath.
Right.
And he's basically saying, I have the power to do this, so I am.
Sure. And
I'm
sometimes Son of Man is interpreted as the Messiah. So I guess maybe he does refer to himself possibly as the Messiah, or could be interpreted that way.
In that particular instance, he's looking the Pharisees straight in the fucking eye and saying, try me.
Yeah.
I have the power to... My dad made this temple. I have the power to change the laws here. And that's why the Pharisees were like, excuse you?
Right.
And that's why they were like, we have got to get this fuck out of here.
Right. Because, I think if I was in that time frame, I'd be like, this guy's Looney Tunes, guys.
He's dangerous.
He's not quite right here. Something's wrong.
Or he's very right and he's doing a Trumpy power play and he's just walking in and he's like, who's going to stop me?
Right.
I'm God, what?
But like, and the way that you would prove this is generally by performing miracles, but apparently everybody was doing that. So, like, there's so much.
And then later in this chapter, he's like, I don't have to prove. Like when the Pharisees come up to him and they're like, no, right here, right now, right in front of my eyes. Because not all of them had seen. Sure. Obviously. Right. Probably none of them had seen. Right. And he's like, I ain't got to prove nothing to you. And it's like, oh, so you can't then. Right. Okay. Yeah. So you're not magic. Right. Got it. I see clearly now. Okay. Yeah, Jesus is a little dick. I'm sorry. Yeah. So in chapter 5, Jesus came around saying he did not come to abolish the law. And the traditional Christian answer is that, what? Jesus is not abolishing the law. He is rejecting the Pharisees' interpretations of the law.
There ain't no fucking interpretations. It's written down. This shit is written down in the Old Testament.
Yeah, my argument is that if everyone claims to be quote-unquote reinterpreting rather than breaking, then the distinction is fucking moot. And, okay, well, I interpreted the red light to mean except in case of emergency and if I had to get to Kroger real bad to pick up some kitty litter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the beginning, not the beginning, because they did in the Old Testament too, but, I mean, talk about just like just giving an open book to like cherry pick anything you want. Yeah. Right? Like, here you go. Like, you can we don't have to listen to anything, but we can listen to some of it, but we can not listen to whatever else. No wonder
they're like, the Old Testament doesn't matter anymore. But also it does though. Like, that's what Jesus is doing right in this chapter.
No, yeah.
So it's both. You get to have whatever the fuck you want. Say whatever you want. Any rule can go any way you want. And you can just be like, well, I mean, Jesus reinterpreted it because the Pharisees,
It's God a la carte.
Yeah. All right. So then we move on to the man with the withered hand. Yeah. And this one really pissed me off because he cured that guy on a Sunday or on a Saturday on the Sabbath.
Right. On the Sabbath.
Yeah. Which is a Saturday. Yeah. And so our question was, Jesus fucking Christ, was Jesus intentionally healing on the Sabbath to provoke people? Like he was, picking corn?
And the answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is very yes.
I didn't know that for sure, but I knew that for sure.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't merely to annoy them. It was to force the issue. Like, duh. He's trying to differentiate himself, but he's also trying to bring the argument to a point. Right. The withered hand clearly wasn't an emergency, as you and I pointed out. Yeah. The man could have waited until Sunday. There wasn't anything he could have done that day anyway, it being the Sabbath. Sure. And thus Jesus could have waited too. We said all this in the episode. We were like, wait a minute. And yeah, my research bears this out. Right. That means that the timing is almost certainly deliberate. And that's what scholars are like, yeah, no, he was pushing buttons. Right. So our question after that was, isn't Jesus being a really bad role model? He's like not following any
goddamn pissant.
Yeah. And Christians would say that Jesus demonstrates the true purpose of the law, mercy over ritual. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Jesus demonstrates that I'm the Son of God. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and I can pee on things, and I can move this over here, and I can walk through the field if I want to, and I can do things on the Sabbath. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm the Son of God. I just reinterpreted all the laws. Nah. I mean, that literally is what happened.
Right. I'm just going to throw this back out one more time. No one wrote about this fucker during his lifetime. Okay?
I'm just tired of hearing that, but yeah.
No, I know, but it's relevant because he's the Son of God. Give me a goddamn break. Yeah. He's not. Clearly. If he was, somebody would have been so fucking amazed by this and the things he was doing that it would have made the news. It would have, whatever the news was equivalent was back then. Yeah. It would have been a thing. But no.
So with regard to was Jesus being a bad role model, we know what Christians would say. Right. Historians all they'll say is that Jesus is engaging in civil disobedience against a religious interpretation that he considers to be harmful. So
okay,
he's being a political activist.
I see.
And either way, he's intentionally creating a confrontation. He is not at all trying to avoid the controversy. He's like, let's do this.
And okay, if I could truly understand what he was doing this for and the reasons and all that,
right?
Like there's a way that this could make sense, and there's a way that this could be a righteous cause that he's doing as the Son of God and whatever. Like there's a way that could make sense, but so far that story has not been pitched to me.
Right.
That
this is not the one.
This is not the one. Yeah.
Maybe one of the other testimonies will be better, but Matthew's trash. Okay. So our question, which we've actually asked multiple times this episode, if the Pharisees saw the miracles, why weren't they impressed?
Right.
Like, why weren't they like, whoa, magic, dude?
Yeah.
For realsies.
Right.
So the Christian answer is that they saw the miracles and hardened their hearts.
Oh my God.
You know the way they do. You know them fucking Pharisees. They be all sodomites and whatnot. Historically, obviously, things are a little bit more complicated.
Obviously,
so let's have a more nuanced answer.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. They questioned whether the miracles actually happened. Many modern skeptics would land here. Like, yes. That would be why.
Right. Yeah. There were no miracles.
Right.
Period.
And many of them thought that the reports were exaggerated. And not every Pharisee necessarily witnessed every event personally. I would go so far as to say that no Pharisee witnessed any event personally because none of the miracles happened.
Right.
But what the fuck do I know?
Yeah.
They believed that if there were supernatural acts, that they came from evil sources. Or that evil sources could be the source of supernatural acts.
I actually, in the going back to that episode that I listened to about on, I can't remember what the episode, it was linked to in the last episode, but they said that a lot of the miracle claims came about because his followers had a hard time justifying the fact that the leader of their cult essentially died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they had to put meaning to it.
It had to mean something.
That's where we got Jesus, because they were trying to attribute meaning to him after the fact. So
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Everything is prophecy stuffing.
Right.
Even his death.
Yeah.
3 days later, they were like, fuck. So they're like, magic might be real, but it's probably evil. And that accusation only makes sense if they accepted that something unusual was actually happening, and not all of them did.
Right.
Authority was actually the real issue here.
Okay.
Who's in charge?
Right.
And Jesus is pressing real hard to say, me.
Yeah.
And the Pharisees are like, no, Yahweh and then us.
Right.
Because we're following Yahweh. I don't know what you're doing over there, but you're doing some Sabbathy shit. And that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody appeared today and was able to help people, that alone wouldn't make them trustworthy. Because we would still ask, like, but who are you? Why are people following you? Like, what's your message? What authority do you claim? Like, we would have questions.
Sure. But I got to admit, if somebody put their hand over someone and there was a glow and then the person came back to life from the dead, clinically dead, I'd be a little more inclined to believe them.
But the question would be, how do you know that they were clinically dead? And who said that they were clinically dead?
Sure. No, there's obviously questions. Okay.
And is the guy that brought him back to life a doctor? Because that has happened. One would say maybe that some doctors have brought people back from the dead and are thus miracle workers.
All right. If they could walk on water for like a mile out into the ocean.
Here's my thing. We do have doctors that have resuscitated people from the dead.
Sure.
And you know what they're not doing, those doctors? Do we know the names of any of those doctors who have brought people back from the dead?
I mean, I'm sure somebody does, but generally
Do
no.
we as a public?
No.
No. Do we be like, holy shit, they brought that guy back from the dead? Right? That's a miracle.
Right.
It kind of is, but it's science, not magic, so it's fine, right? And those folk ain't out like trying to reinterpret the goddamn Bible.
Right.
They're just going golfing the next day.
Yeah.
And then, do another fucking whatever medical thing that they do next week.
Yeah. Did anybody? I wonder if anybody checked when he walks on water, like if there was like a submersible floating dock thing that he was walking on. Just saying.
Probably.
Yeah.
So for the Pharisees, Jesus wasn't just helping people. He was challenging the established religious authority. And that's what this is really all about. This was like political warfare.
Right.
And I'm like, he was using... I feel like this guy was so fucking Trump. He just marched
I kind of started emulating, like he was saying something on the last chapter, and I started emulating Trumpish speech because it's very... Yeah. It's very propaganda-ish.
It is.
Yeah.
He just walks in and he's like, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm a celebrity. When you're a celebrity, they let you do it. You can grab them by the pussy.
Oh my God. I saw the worst thread today of people. Some news organizations shared a thing about should Eugene Carroll be sued for defamation of character because she said that Trump raped her. And
the reason that that's a question is because he is going after her.
No, I know.
Which is disgusting.
Oh, it absolutely is. But like obviously this was some right wing whatever, and it popped up in my feed because somebody I knew commented on it that was left wing. But the entire thread, other than that one comment, was all, yeah, get her. And it was just disgusting bullshit. I'm like, you guys do realize that he was literally convicted civilly of sexual assault against her, right? By a jury of peers. Right. Like this is a thing that happened.
He sexually assaulted her. He was found guilty.
He also had 34 felony counts for covering up a porn star affair that he had.
He's also admitted to, being a gropey, rapey, disgusting guy.
Right, yeah.
He's in the Epstein files and deleted his name.
Yeah, and yet you guys think that it's you still think it's the woman that did wrong. I just can't get over how disgusting people can be in the face of so much information counter to what they think.
Well, I will go one further and say I bet even a lot of those people don't necessarily think she wasn't assaulted, but maybe even think that the assault was fine and that it doesn't count as assault.
I honestly don't even care. I think that they're disgusting people.
No, I do too.
Who are unwilling to look at what's right in front of them, which is a large part of what this is.
Right.
Like the Bible is right in front of literally every Christian, and they don't fucking look at it.
They have it in their house and they put their hand on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not supposed to do that, though. You're swearing on a thing that you're not supposed to swear on.
Right.
Like, it literally says it in the first fucking chapter of Matthew. Don't do oaths like that.
Yeah.
It does.
Right.
All right. So, okay, let's get back to this. Sorry. Fuck
Sorry,
Trump.
I went off on a little Trump or a little tangent there.
A little Trumption.
Yeah.
So miracle workers were common back then, as we said. First century Judea had lots of prophets, exorcists, healers, holy men, and apocalyptic preachers, and all kinds of grifters and wonks.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus was not the only miracle worker being talked about, but what made him unusual was the scale of his claims, and especially his authority claims. And that's one reason why John the Baptist earlier had asked whether Jesus is really the one, because there were multiple messianic claimants and prophetic figures floating around during that time.
Sure.
But
this is lends to that whole Trumpish idea. Mm-hmm. Like he just doubled down. He's bigger and better than everything else out there, and he just kept saying it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so it kind of makes you think that maybe the comparisons to Jesus aren't all wrong if you think of Jesus as a Trumpy guy rather than as Trump as a Jesus-y guy.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, so then we're going to move on to verses 17 through 21 that I'm going to read. This was to fill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. So, that's why I'm reading it, because then I have to go look it up.
Sure.
Here is my servant whom I have chosen, the one I love, in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not quarrel or cry out. No one will hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out, till he has brought justice through to victory. In his name, the nations will put their hope. Okay, that comes from Isaiah chapter 42, verses 1 through 4.
Okay.
Here is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. I will put my spirit in him, and he will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. In faithfulness he will bring justice. I mean, it's exactly the same.
Sure.
He will not falter or be discouraged till he establishes justice on earth. In his teaching, the islands will put their hope. Well, the islands will put their hope, as opposed to the nations.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's not exactly the same.
Sure.
So, I was like, I had to look up what that was about, because I didn't fully how long was it that we read Isaiah, 500 years ago? Yeah. So originally Isaiah is introducing this mysterious servant of the Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
And the servant brings justice, does not crush the weak, does not shout or dominate, and ultimately succeeds. And so then the question is, but back then, who were we talking about?
Right.
Who is this servant supposed to be?
Yeah.
And now historically, many Jewish readers saw the servant as Israel itself, or the faithful remnant of Israel, which we talked about that at the time.
Yeah.
There was always the remnant going on, or a future righteous figure.
Sure.
So, but Matthew's like, boom, Jesus.
Right.
He applies it to Jesus, and the relevance is obvious. Jesus has just withdrawn from conflict and healed quietly rather than launching a revolution. Did he, though? I'm like...
He's also being kind of a thorn in everyone's side and standing up to...
Yeah.
He is sticking
Is he
out.
healing quietly, and is he not launching a revolution? It kind of sounds the opposite to me.
Yeah.
But Matthew sees that behavior as matching Isaiah's servant.
Sure.
Matthew is a bitch. That's my opinion.
Well, and where does he bring together nations? I mean, I guess you could claim that that's what's happened now, but still no.
Right.
It's caused more wars than not, even amongst different Christian factions.
Yeah.
It's not worked out so well.
No, totally. All right, so then we move on to verse 31, which I will read. And so I tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven.
God damn it.
And we were like, the fuck? This is one of the most debated passages in all of Christianity.
Okay.
Jesus says that every sin can be forgiven except blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. So it would seem that a criminal can be forgiven, but a decent atheist cannot? Question mark?
Right.
And we were like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And many Christians themselves even struggle with that implication.
Well,
Only the decent ones, though.
No, and I've heard it said that normally, or that a lot of Christians actually think that atheists are the worst. We are the epitome of evil, essentially. Yeah. And God forbid you ever even talk about the Satanists or anything like that, which... if you have never looked up the bylaws of the Church of Satan or Satanists in general, or there's two different Satanist groups, but either one,
they're both pretty humanist.
Yeah, they're very, very much decent folk, as far as what they stand for and what they promote. So
title is more of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing,
right?
Less a let's worship Satan and more of a like we can just be a religion of people who do good things and call it whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Right. I mean, it's catches people's attention, obviously.
Sure.
And it does that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a whole like Satanic Panic back in the 80s.
Yes.
And it was like I remember people talking about stories of finding children fighting with swords down in sewers and shit like that, and like Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons will take your child away to satanic nonsense, and the music, and if you play the records backwards, it's Satan calling you.
Yeah. It was
a big deal, kids.
Yeah.
I
even had some people, kind of say some things about, like, I used to play Magic the Gathering, and that was frowned upon.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, definitely. So there are many interpretations.
Sure.
Here are a few. Okay. The first one is that the unforgivable sin is consciously attributing God's work to evil. And that's the immediate context. The Pharisees see a healing take place and they immediately say that comes from demons. Beelzebub did it.
Sure.
So they are consciously attributing God's work to the devil.
Okay.
So that was bad. And that's what that means. The blasphemy against the Spirit.
Got it.
Okay. Here's another interpretation. The unforgivable sin is permanently rejecting God's grace. And in this view, it isn't a single statement, but a settled refusal to repent. Which I'm like, yeah, so atheists.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't feel like I need to repent to
anything,
a God,
right,
or whatever. I feel like I need to wrangle within my own self my flaws and misdemeanors and
the people that you have to reconcile with are the people that you care about and love that are a part of your life.
What I can sleep with at night. Not some
mystical, magical, fucking never seen entity that doesn't actually exist.
My conscience and the people around me. Right. My kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
And
our cat.
And our cat, definitely.
Yeah.
She's the boss.
Right.
Here's another interpretation. Some scholars think the warning is directed specifically at Jesus's opponents in that one specific historical situation.
Okay. Which is what?
Right then. When Jesus is like, fuck you, Pharisees. And the Pharisees are like, no, fuck you. And then Jesus is like, oh, you're not forgiven.
Got it.
Burn forever, fuckers. Because I said so.
The fact that there's like 300 to 500 interpretations of every goddamn thing Jesus says is really annoying.
You would think God would do a better job if magic existed.
Yeah, right?
Whichever way you choose to look at it, many Christian theologians would say that the passage is not comparing murder to atheism. I would say that's a generous take.
Yeah, and it's also
because it actually is.
It's not how a lot of Christians take it, because a lot of Christians do think we're worse than murderers.
Right.
Honestly.
Like they assume that as atheists we are eating babies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, actually, some of y'all do. Have you checked your boss? Because
right. Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not eating babies. I'm an atheist. I'm not eating babies.
Yeah, nor are any atheists that I know of.
And I'm not a pedo, and I don't run over kittens.
Right.
And I'm just trying to live my life over here.
Yeah.
And not be bothered.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. I will say this. So in my encounters with people, be it Christian or atheist, I've had better interactions with caring people, in my opinion, on the atheist side than on the Christian side. Because Christian caring comes with strings attached.
It's very heavy, and it feels like it has emotional labor to it.
Right, yeah. And look, there's assholes on both sides.
No,
I'm not trying to say there's not atheists who aren't assholes. There absolutely are.
But you know what? An atheist asshole You could just call an asshole and not have to couch your language because you're like on the same side theologically,
Sure.
right? But like with a religious person, you feel like you have to couch your language. You have to not insult their faith or whatever, even though they are attacking your faith.
Right.
And it just, I don't know. It's
we have to tiptoe around them.
yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm oppressed. And I'm like, you're actually fucking not, though.
Yeah.
Not in America.
Yeah, if anybody's oppressed here, it's us.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. So then we move ahead to when he brings up Jonah, just out of the blue.
Yeah.
Another random, like,
Right.
deep cut. Like, why the fuck?
Which I didn't think
Right?
was a good reference, honestly.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
So Matthew interprets the fact that Jonah spent 3 days in the fish as foreshadowing that Jesus will spend 3 days in the tomb. Now, we're not there yet, but that will come up.
Ah, okay.
And he's going to bring up Jonah again later, which is why he had to bring it up now.
Did Matthew foreshadow that, or did Jesus foreshadow it with what he said? Like, who? I keep getting confused.
Matthew
as to-
writing this.
Okay.
Matthew in writing this.
The book of Matthew.
The book of Matthew
lays this out. As foreshadowing
Yes.
for Jonah.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Jonah preached and Nineveh repented.
Sure.
I mean,
That was a weird section.
it was a
of the-
really weird section because then Jonah was sad about it and went and sat under a tree and cried.
Yeah,
It was very weird.
it was.
But Jesus' point here is that while Nineveh listened to a nobody loser like Jonah, these guys won't even listen to somebody far greater than Jonah. And that's stupid of them. That's what Jesus is saying.
There was also the whole thing that was probably not a true story from Jonah.
Right, yeah.
So-
yeah, totally.
Because there's multiple reasons. I remember we covered at the time, but there was multiple reasons why pretty much none of that was probably true.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Anyways. Fuck Jonah. Fuck Jesus.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
So then we move on to the Queen of the South.
Yeah.
Another
That
deep
was an
cut.
interesting...
So weird.
Yeah.
Right. And we were right. The Queen of the South is indeed the Queen of Sheba.
Sure.
She was from 1 Kings chapter 10.
Okay.
And Jesus's reason for bringing her up, his argument is that she crossed continents, thousands of miles, to hear Solomon's wisdom. Whereas these guys have someone greater than Solomon even standing right in their fucking faces, but they still refuse to listen to him. What the fuck?
I mean...
This woman crossed fucking continents.
Again, he's breaking Sabbath rules, and that seems to me like God used to kill people over it. So the fact that they aren't listening to him isn't as bad as it sounds.
Right.
They're just trying not to like die from their God.
Yeah.
And I don't even fucking blame them if they truly believe that the God of the Old Testament is their God, because that God is a fucking dick.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I would...
As written in the Bible of the Old Testament.
Yeah. The entire Hebrew Bible is full of God is a dick.
Right.
And...
Like that was our whole theme through the whole fucking Old Testament.
Right. And so Jesus is being like, even though Yahweh's a dick, go ahead and just don't listen to him anymore. And I'm the boss now.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough.
That's not enough.
It's just not. And he wouldn't even perform miracles for the Pharisees.
Yep.
So if you're not going to perform miracles for the Pharisees, then why would they jump ship and start believing you?
Right.
You should give them some. They already believe in God, just not the way you want them to.
Right.
So bring them on board. Like, what's the what? Can't you just like materialize a dandelion or something? Like, do something.
Do something pretty.
Right.
And nice and
Yeah.
good and sweet.
Right.
All right. So then we move on to Jesus's mother and brethren.
Yes.
And we had questions.
I did.
Okay, first of all, we wanted to know, did Jesus have brothers there? What the fuck?
Sure the fuck sounded like
It sure the fuck sounded like it, right? And I was like, no. He's referring to his brothers, the people.
Well, that's what he changed to.
Right.
But
no, the text actually reads that these are his brothers. And
Yeah.
later, Matthew even names them. the debate about whether these are his actual physical brothers, like bio brothers, comes later.
Got it.
And people argue over it. But as of this moment,
there's brothers.
He has a mom and brothers.
Yeah.
And they came to see him.
Yeah.
And from the Protestant perspective, these were biological siblings.
Sure.
But from the Catholic and Orthodox views, they were cousins, stepbrothers, or close relatives.
Okay.
The disagreement exists because of later traditions about perpetual virginity.
That's right. I did hear about that.
Yeah. We talked about it.
So they decided they wanted something else to be true, and they're just like, no, those are not what you think they are.
Yeah. Just don't read the Bible the way it reads.
They didn't interpret that correctly. Well, if they didn't interpret it correctly, who knows what else they didn't interpret correctly? Church of fucking whatever.
Right.
That leaves open the whole interpretation of the entire Bible and God and Jesus to be possibly wrong.
Yeah.
Because you guys just decided that we're going to read it differently.
Yeah, so if you're just straight up reading Matthew, no context or whatever, most modern readers would naturally conclude, yeah, Jesus totally had brothers.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I was just like, ooh.
Right.
So, my bad.
And then he dissed them.
Yeah.
Like,
and that was our next question. Did Jesus diss his mother? Like, what? This scene often reads harsher than it was probably intended. Although it read pretty fucking harsh. Jesus isn't necessarily saying that Mary is no longer his mother, more that spiritual kinship now takes priority over biological kinship.
Sure.
So, yes, he disowned his mother, but that sounds mean, so can we say it softer?
But, okay, what I would like to have heard is that he still went and said hello to his mother and brothers.
Right?
Because it didn't say that.
He's like, that don't befront me.
Right, yeah. So if he didn't go visit with them, he fucking disowned them.
Yeah.
And that's what it sounds exactly like he did.
Yeah.
Is that he's like, fuck them, bye.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
because still,
you're an asshole.
Right. He's an uppity little punk.
Yeah.
So, still, in ancient Mediterranean world, family loyalty was everything. Right?
Yeah.
So elevating discipleship above family ties was super radical, like unheard of.
Yeah.
Very weird, probably super shocking to all of his disciples. Like, what?
Right.
Everybody in that room was probably looking at each other like,
dude, you need to go check with your mom and brothers.
But your mom's cool, bruh. She makes the best cookies. Why are we disinmarried?
Right.
Your mom's sweet. I like your mom.
Right.
Come on, Jesus. Come on. This theme appeared back in Matthew chapter 10 also when he was redefining what family means.
Sure.
And we talked about that a little bit at the time.
Yeah, he said something about you're going to have to disown your family and whatever.
And now he is.
Yeah, and now he is. He's living up to what he said, you know.
Yeah. So from a sociological perspective, it's one of the features that sometimes leads critics to compare early Christianity with high commitment religious movements, aka cults.
Yeah.
Loyalty to the movement is placed above ordinary family bonds.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounds like. He's like, I'm cutting off my mom and brothers. Y'all need to cut off everybody too.
Well, you have to. So we're talking about a religious idea that has persisted 2,000 years, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do that, the initial, push for this cult had to be pretty large, like there had to be quite a following, and there had to be quite a lot of enthusiasm for it, right? Mm-hmm. So that makes me think that it probably was very cultish in the way it was formed, because how else do you gain such diehard loyalty to this cause, right?
Right.
You have to create that cult in order to push forward with it and make it something more than what it was.
Yeah.
And that's why they had to feel like they had to rewrite everything after it got kind of squashed by Jesus dying on the cross.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another note about this chapter. Jesus's biggest disputes are with fellow Jews, which we talked about at the beginning.
Right.
Not pagans, Romans, or atheists. Most debates in Matthew are Jewish arguments about how to interpret Scripture.
Sure.
It's not about us.
I mean, I haven't heard a lot of, I don't feel like they much dealt with a lot of atheists. Doesn't feel like they existed very much.
Everybody
and if they did, they probably kept quiet about it,
Right.
So
that's true. But in this chapter, we see Jesus make a lot of serious fucking claims about himself.
Yeah.
He claims to be greater than David, greater than the temple, greater than Jonah, and greater than Solomon.
Yeah.
That's an extraordinary escalation.
It really is. Yeah.
Like, I keep saying this book, Matthew, but Jesus, whomst the fuck do you think you is, sir?
Right.
Because Son of God ain't it.
Right.
Sorry.
No.
Not buying it.
No.
So here's an interesting little tidbit that I came across in my studies. The gospel may be projecting later conflicts backwards.
Sure.
We know, as you've pointed out multiple times, that Matthew was written decades after Jesus' death.
Yeah.
I don't think you knew this, though. Many scholars think some Pharisee versus Jesus debates in the book of Matthew specifically may reflect disputes that were actually happening in Matthew's own community after the destruction of the temple in 70 CE.
Okay.
So Matthew might be describing Jesus' arguments in language that was shaped by arguments that Christians were having years later.
Okay. All right.
Which, yeah, that fucking tracks.
Right.
And trying to make it make sense and sound 70 years older than it was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, how many times throughout the entire Bible thus far have we had somebody that was writing in a different era and trying to relate current things back to a previous era?
Exactly.
Like that happens all through the Bible. Why would that change with the New Testament? And I'm going to grant them this, that with the New Testament and these writings, that they didn't happen as far off as some of the other Old Testament stuff did. Like they're within 40 to 70 years type time frame
Sure.
or whatever. But it's still after Jesus dies, and they're linking backward.
Yeah.
Something else that was pointed out at one point is that none of the apostles were there to witness his resurrection. Probably they all fled after their
They didn't want to get
scared of
crucified.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of weird shit with how this all breaks down, how these accounts came to be, why people believe the things that are said and what they actually mean. It's just I don't even know what to say, because there's so much. We could never discuss every nuance of what is wrong or correct or whatever. Like, but the truth of this is that it is a 2,000-year-old document that is a myth that got blown way out of fucking proportion.
And would have been so awesome to read as just historical literature. And instead, I have to tear it apart and explain to dumbos why it's not real.
Right, because unfortunately it is very relevant to our politics today.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was our Q&A over Matthew chapters 11 and 12.
Correct.
And our next episode will actually be another
Q&A, probably Sunday, maybe. Who knows? It'll cover chapter 13 of Matthew.
Yeah, where Jesus talked a lot.
He has so many fucking parables.
Yeah, they were not great.
They were not great.
There was stuff about shit I don't remember now.
The parable of the sower and the mustard seed.
That's right. That was a bad one. That was a really bad one.
They were all bad.
I know, but that one was particularly bad, if I recall. Anyway, come back tomorrow for mustard seeds and sowers and stuff. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe, leave an Apple review, join us on Twitter, support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.